Hey guys, I'm Maddie and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to chat about the 10 book series that I want to start and finish in 2025. Some of these series are quite long and quite extensive, so we'll see if it happens. But I am more of a series reader than like a standalone. Like I would like to dive into a world as long as I like the first book. We'll get into that later because there is one series that you kind of have to push through a little bit. Actually, there's a couple of them. I feel like that might be a common theme, is that the first couple books of a series aren't as good as the rest of them. And I think that's because it's a lot of plot building, a lot of world building, depending what kind of genre it's in. But anyways, nonetheless, let's get right into the series. I just have a huge ass pile right beside me and I'm just gonna pull and we'll talk about them as I grab them. The first is Binding 13, and this is the first book of the Boys of Tommen series by Chloe Walsh. I hear everyone and their mother talk about this series. Do I know what it's about? Not really. I know it follows different couples. There's Binding 13. Let me talk about the books in the series as I hold them up, because then that way we can figure out how many books I have on my potential TBR for 2025 so far. Okay, so we have Binding 13 and Keeping 13, Saving 6 and Redeeming 6, and then Taming 7. I don't know if there's gonna be a sixth book for 7, but anyways, this one follows Johnny and Shannon, I think, and they are college students at Tommen College. Oh, Johnny is a rugby player. I'm pretty sure in another video I talked about him and said he was a football player, but Johnny is rugby, and I don't know much about Shannon. I love going into books so blind, like not even knowing what the plot is, because then it feels like a surprise for me. Most times I don't even read the back, so I just kind of skim it or get a general idea of what the book's about. But I heard this is heartbreaking and that you'll probably cry and become addicted to these characters. So anyways, first is The Boys of Tommen, and there are 5 books a part of this series. The next series that I am going to be diving into is Magnolia Parks. I'm not going to keep saying this because I'm excited for all of these series. That's why I'm talking about them. But this one, again, everybody has talked about this. There are 5 books a part of this series, this universe, the Magnolia Parks universe. And that is Magnolia Parks. Then we have Daisy Hates, Magnolia Parks, The Long Way Home, Daisy Hates, The Great Undoing, and then Magnolia Parks, Into the Dark. So this follows Magnolia and BJ, and then there's obviously Daisy Hates, and I don't know who her love interest is, but they're all in the same world and the same series, obviously, but just follow some different characters. Kind of like The Boys of Tommen. Similar vibes. We have the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver. The first book is Flawless. It's then followed by Heartless, Powerless, Reckless, and then Hopeless. So 5 books in this series as well. Oh my gosh. We're at 15 books already. And this is only 3 out of 10 series. Oh man. Oh man. Okay. These are interconnected standalones where I don't think The Boys of Tommen is interconnected standalones. I think you have to read them in order, and same with Magnolia Parks, you have to read it 1 through 5. But I'm pretty sure the Chestnut Springs you can read in any order. One thing about me is that if I'm reading interconnected standalones, I'm going to read them in the published order, in the order that they came out. Just something about me. I just have to read it in that order. I think sometimes you get like little glimpses into other characters and it makes the most sense when you read them in chronological order. But anyways, they're all about like small town romances, I think in the same town, Chestnut Springs, if I'm not mistaken. This one, oh, this one I'm so excited for because he is a professional bull rider. One thing about me, I love the rodeo. I love going to watch the rodeo. I love bull riding. And I don't know what she does. Summer doesn't say what she does, but there's boundaries that they shouldn't cross. Forbidden romance, maybe? Again, know very little about this. Next up, we have Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This is like, oh, this is only a trilogy. Okay, well, I'm gonna count trilogies and duologies in this because to me those are series. there are multiple books within the same universe. So this is the Powerless trilogy, and we have Powerless, Powerful, which is a novella, Reckless, and then the third one hasn't been announced yet. So technically there's only 2 books I have to read, but kind of 3 because I will be reading the novella. This is a fantasy, a romantasy about Kai and Peyton. I think it's more YA if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so she saves one of the princes, Ilia's prince Kai, and then Peyton has to compete in the purging trials, which is just a competition to show off your powers, to show how powerful you are. And Peyton is an ordinary, so that's why she's powerless. Oh, full circle moment. I love when the title makes sense to the book. Hopefully it does. If not, that's very misleading. This is a complicated one for me. So I am really looking forward to reading the Cat and Mouse Duet, which starts with Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. Can I speak? And then the second book is Hunting Adeline. But this is kind of where series stressed me out a little bit, and we're gonna get into this with one of the next ones too. The reading order. I hate when the reading order is up for debate, like this one. So you have Haunting and Hunting Adeline, but then you have 2 other books, Where's Molly and Satan's Affair, that are also connected within the same universe, same world. And I think technically you should read Satan's Affair first, and then Haunting Adeline, and then Hunting Adeline, and then finish up with the 4th book, Where's Molly. The thing is, I don't have Satan's Affair, and I really want to read this book, but I want to read this book without having to read Satan's Affair first, because then I have to go and buy Satan's Affair, or I could read it on Kindle. I think it's on Kindle Unlimited, but I just want to read this book. But then in my head, I'm like, well, I can't read it until I read Satan's Affair. So sometimes I create roadblocks for me, but this is a very dark romance with like a stalker. I was gonna say a hunter. He's a stalker, and I think there's a pretty extensive trigger warning. This is about like the iconic Zaid Meadows. So if you've heard of him, this is his book, Graphic Violence. Oh, it's about human trafficking. I forgot about that too. I did know that actually. Gunplay, somnophilia, bondage, degradation. Yeah. Child death, explicit sexual situations, stalking, child trafficking, child sacrifice. This book just keeps getting darker and darker. But yeah, be warned. Check, maybe look into this more if you have some triggers. I have never read a dark romance. Like I've read Butcher and Blackbird, but that was a rom-com. That was like a dark comedy with romance, and it was very funny, but I've never read an actual dark romance. So I'm really looking forward to diving into that, and I think this will be a great book to get started with. Or series, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to read Satan's Affair first or just jump right into Haunting Adeline. Please let me know if you've read it. Please let me know in the comments which reading order you did and which one you'd recommend. Another dark romance is the Mindfuck series by St. Abbey. This is the old cover. I know it got republished with a new cover, and I much prefer this one. I think it looks much classier. This is actually the whole series in one book. It's like 5 shorter books, so they're all just shoved into one. But I think if you read it on Kindle Unlimited, it's all broken down, I think. I don't have a Kindle or Kindle Unlimited, so I'm not sure, but I know a lot of people do. So if you have that, check it out. This follows a serial killer and an FBI agent who has been tasked with following up on the murders and figuring out who the serial killer is. The twist, she is the serial killer, he is an FBI agent, and the she and the he are together. I think they're dating. I don't think they're married, but I think they're dating. How cool is that? That's so badass. One of my favorite things is, I didn't notice this until somebody on Facebook pointed it out, but St. Abbey, that is stabby, and on the back, it quite clearly says that. Right there, right down there. Romance with a stabby twist. I think that's so funny. Oh boy, oh. This is probably the most intimidating series on my list. most intimidating and most frustrating, I think, and that is the Throne of Glass series. I am on A Court of Silver Flames within the ACOTAR series. I'm almost done it and I'm very, very sad, but I want to read more of Sarah J. Maas's work. So the Throne of Glass it will be. And this is, I say frustrating because this also has a reading order that's up for debate. This is kind of heavy, but in which order you should read the Assassin's Blade, if you should read it first, if you should read it third or fourth. I think fourth, a lot of people recommend. But this is, how many books is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 books, 8 books. And it's also recommended that you read the last 2 in a tandem read. So you read some chapters from Tower of Dawn and then you go to Kingdom of Ash and you kind of flip back and forth. What is stopping me from reading the Throne of Glass series is that, again, I don't know what book to start with. I don't know if I should start with the Assassin's Blade and then get into Throne of Glass, or if I should read Throne of Glass and the other 2 and then the Assassin's Blade. I just don't know. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think it's really going to affect your reading journey and the whole overlying plot of the book. But I just don't know. What if it does? What if it does? What if I choose wrong and then I don't like the series and I never read it and don't finish it? And now I just have all 8 of these books that I have to look at and be like, didn't finish. Anyways, that's just what goes on in my brain. But moving on, there's a common theme here if you can't tell. The last series that I would like to read is Crescent City. The first book is House of Earth and Blood. And I actually found the hardcover at Value Village for $7. What a freaking steal, and it's in really great condition. Again, I really truly don't know much about Sarah J. Maas's work, about Throne of Glass and Crescent City. I think hers are best to go in blind, like knowing nothing. Speaking from experience with A Court of Thorns and Roses, I knew nothing about that book. I didn't know anything about Tamlin. I didn't know anything about Rhysand. I didn't know anything about Feyre or how the dynamic of the world worked or what even the point of the books were. And I think it made the books so much more enjoyable because I got to experience it for the first time, not tainted by anybody else's opinions, thoughts, and I highly recommend. So I'm trying to avoid as many spoilers as possible, or not even necessarily, well, spoilers for sure, but also just any discussion about the series because I want to go in on my own journey and just experience it for myself. One thing I have heard about Crescent City is that it's kind of like a reality show, like kind of like trashy TV. I don't know how true that is or if that's even accurate or if the person talking about it was just kind of making fun of it. Not sure, no idea, but that intrigues me. So there is House of Earth and Blood, House of Sky and Breath is the second book, and then the most recent release is House of Flame and Shadow. I am not sure how many books are actually going to be a part of this, if it's only a trilogy or if there will be more, but so far there's only 3 that have been out, and they are thick ass books. Like, how many pages are in this? Oh. So far I'm at 96 chapters, 799 pages. This is almost an 800-page book. And there's 3 of them, and I think they're all very similar in length. If not, they progressively get longer as you go along. Perfect. I think I said that was the last series. I lied because I have 2 series that I want to talk about that I don't have the physical copies of. I would like to tackle the Zodiac Academy series. How many books are in that? So you start off with The Awakening, and this is another one that people are like, you have to get through the first 2 or 3 books until it actually starts getting good. And I've heard that with the Throne of Glass series as well, that you have to kind of just muddle your way through the first couple of books, power through it, just put your head down and read, and then it finally gets good. And I think that's pretty accurate with like the longer series because there is so much you have to build up to, and obviously the more the author works in that series, the better it's gonna get, in my opinion. I hope I'm not wrong. But in total for the Zodiac Academy, 8 real book, or no, Yeah, I think there's like 8 real books and then 2 novellas within the series. So like 10 books. 10 books. Oh my god. Oh my god, that is so many. It follows like 2 sisters who magically discover their powers, I think, and then get sent off to a high school or a college or some sort of educational institute where they go and learn about their powers. I'm explaining this so poorly. Let me read what it says on Goodreads. So yeah, the first book is The Awakening. And yes, there's fae, I think there might be vampires, supernatural a-holes is what it says, changelings. The 2 main characters it follows, I think they're sisters and they are like these super powerful beings and they just recently discovered those powers and then go to the school to learn about them, to be with people like them, to be with their kind. And I think there's a lot of like romance in this, a lot of relationships, some found family, but overall don't really know. So I've just heard so many people talk about these series and that how life-changing they are, and I want to be changed. I want my life to be changed by some books, by some vampires and some fae. ACOTAR changed me. Fourth Wing changed me, and those all, well, Fourth Wing doesn't have fae. ACOTAR has fae. Fourth Wing just has dragons. And the final series that I am looking forward to reading and that I hope to start and finish in 2025 is The Cruel Prince. That is the Folk of the Air, I think is what the series is actually called. And again, it's another trilogy. Yeah, The Folk of the Air. So it's The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, and then The Queen of Nothing. And this follows a normal girl named Jude living in like a fairy world. And I think she's like a journalist or something and starts to build relationships and wants to be a part of their world. Just like little Ariel, but with fae and kings and queens. It is more, I think it's another YA book. So I think there's like some romance in it, but will be nothing like super explicit. That is it for this video. Those are the 10 series that I am looking forward to starting and finishing. Hopefully, do I think I'll do it? Probably not all of them because I have the Zodiac Academy and the Throne of Glass on this list, and those are both over 8 books long. So right there, that's 16. But I do have quite a diverse selection, so I think it'll be easier because it's not like all dark romance, not all just plain romance, like fluffy romance, not all fantasy. So I have a lot of variety, a lot that I can pick and choose from, which I think will make it easier, and they're all very exciting books in my opinion. If they weren't, they wouldn't be on this list, clearly. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye! Do we think I can hold all of these? Maybe strategically. This is what I go to the gym for, right? Right? Yeah. I'm really bracing myself. If I can do this,